Well, welcome back, my friends, to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Cutlery Outdoors, a Carnivora / shade / some other things rendition. No, sir, that's Tucker. He's saying hello, welcome in rendition. A Tucker rendition, if you will. Now, we're going to talk about Carnivora, why they're on the channel, what they're about, what's coming up with them, that kind of thing. This is the Mako. This one was made by Tim Ellis. Now, when I do the review, I'm going to list everybody that was involved in the design. It's 3 guys. When I do the review, this one's coming out tomorrow. I'll give you all the specs and all that stuff. Mako tomorrow, Nidhogg Saturday or Sunday, maybe a Christmas special. Hey, what's better than a Christmas story with a sword, huh? Nothing. Thank you. Before we get too far into it, guys, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Now, stats are all over the place, depending on what study you read, but the thing we focus on is 0. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. And vets, all that means is you are welcome here. You have a place here. We love you. I'm not a vet. Don't pretend to be. I'm surrounded by them. And veterans causes, especially that one's on my heart. So we just want you to know you're welcome here. We back to blue over here. We support Leo. How do you do that, Scab? Well, we don't break the damn law. Pretty simple. But when we do, because we accept responsibility for it. And finally, if you're an addict, never quit quitting. So, here's the deal, guys. If you watch my channel, if you watched a short, if you watched any of that for any length of time, you've seen stuff like this. You've seen Carnivora / shade. So let's start with this. Carnivora is a design house started by Don Moore Kramer. Now, guys, I'm just going to give you a brief overview. If I leave anything out, as I have want to do, hopefully Don and then we'll fill it in the comments. But I just wanted to drop back and touch base a little bit. Why? Scab, why do you have Carnivora on the channel? 2 or 3 reasons. First reason is this. I said June 23rd of this year I wanted to be challenged. I wanted to be challenged in our knife reviews. I wanted to really push myself on learning how to use different blades. Nobody challenges me like Carnivora. So the challenge. The second thing is this. When I was a kid, I've grown up loving fantasy weapons. I always have. Right? And just, if I'm going to be honest with you, part of it's a kid in me. Yes, there's a challenge. Now, this is their combat utility knife. We just discussed it, the Mako. But especially the way that I demonstrate and review knives, it's a challenge. And I love the way it looks. It just looks aggressive. It looks kick-ass. That's why I like having it on. The other reason is this. It's all quality. I've done enough demonstrations now. I've beat on enough stuff. I've cut enough trees and stabbed enough tires and done all that to show that the gear, the knives, the blades, the swords, the axes are all top quality. So for those 3 reasons, challenging, I'm a kid, quality, you see them on the channel. There's a 4th reason. Believe it or not, with Carnivora, I've got close to 6 million views. So they bring people in. We get eyes on them. So from every point of view, right? From challenging myself to an enjoyment, to that kid thing, to a business thing, it makes sense to have Carnivora on the channel. 5th reason, they're phenomenal people. They're awesome people. Just like with WTG, Zeke Manacho was kind of the gateway into Carnivora. I was on the phone with Zeke one night, and Don Moore Kramer texted me. He said, "Hey, brother, how would you like to test out a Saber Tooth AX?" Would love to. And I'm here because on Zeke's recommendation. Because he has a design move. So for those reasons, I have them on the channel. Now, let me address this. Let me address the elephant in the room, because a lot of people are like, well, Scab, it's expensive. It's all custom stuff, guy. It's all custom stuff. Shaney at Shade Indonesia, who is one of the best makers that I've seen in a long time, and that is factual. Whether it's his stuff, and let me stop here. Let me differentiate. Okay, Carnivora is a design house. There's a lot of folks in that house, right? Shade Indonesia is the maker. Okay, but they're two separate entities. You're going to see some stuff on the channel from Shade. You're going to see some stuff from Carnivora / Shade. Tim Ellis is another factor in this. He's an American knife maker. He's the guy that made this, 80 CRV2. From my understanding, Tim is the guy who does the prototypes. And he does an amazing job. I love this damn thing. Tim does amazing work. I'm going to talk about something he's done for me. But for those reasons, they're on the channel. Now, I want to show y'all a couple things. I've showed you the Mako. I've showed you the Nighthawk. Some of the stuff you've seen. The Dragoth is one of my all-time favorites. The designer is Jason Dixon. He's a good old boy from up in the hills. And Jason's just an awesome dude. You know what Jason said? You know the reason Jason designed this knife was to have fun. This is a functional blade. Some of you just go, yeah, but just can't. I can't. Dude, that's fine. Here's the other thing. None of this shit's cheap. It's just not. It's all custom made. Find me a custom maker that's going to do anything cheap. You're not. That being said, guys, I'll have some budget stuff on, but there's 12 million channels on YouTube that does knives, that does budget. Okay, cool. That's fine. I do some on here. I don't want to do all budget all the time. I just don't. If I want to be like everybody else, well, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do it. I'm not against it. I got a budget knife in my pocket. But I want y'all to understand, I feel I want to bring you the best, the most unique, different styles of blades out there. JR sent me 3 badass blades. They're expensive, dude. So what? We're going to test them. You're going to see this shit tested. Now I am going to do it. I'm not going to sit around and just show you a knife. I'm going to demonstrate it. Because that's the fun of doing it. I'm not saying it's better than anybody else. I'm saying it's best for me to do it that way. And again, it's a challenge. The other thing is this. To take something like this, and you see it at first look, you say, man, that's a beast of a blade. I don't know what I'd do with it. You take something like this and you begin to work with it. You begin to chop. You begin to slice, right? You begin to scrape. You begin to do some different things, stab. You begin to use the knife and get accustomed to the knife and you go, holy shit. So to see something that's got a little bit of fantasy to it, has great quality, great materials. This is 5160 in my card. Okay, most of the stuff is, or 80 CRV2. There's some G10, but you see higher end materials or better materials, right, on this stuff. So it's well built. It works. All this shit's sharp. All of it's very sharp. But when you take something like this and you begin to work with it, and then you begin to see what the designer envisioned on how to use it, the more you use it, the better it gets. I love doing that. That's why we have them on. Now, at the first of the year, I got to get with Joe. I've already talked to Don. We're going to have Don more Kramer on Blade Talk. I think that's important to bring Don in to give you his vision and his goals for Carnivora. And then we may do a round table with designers. Because a lot of the designers for Carnivora you've heard before, whether it's WTG or another brand. So there are known designers, proven designers. And this is Jason's first design, and to me, I love that dude because he grinds and he works and he puts in time. And that's the kind of people I want to be around. I want to be around the kind of people that work. I don't want to be around the victims of the world. I don't want to be around the excuses of the world. I've done that shit too long. That's why when I tell y'all, when we have our causes, they're causes, but they're not woe is me shit. We're gonna do what we can to help where we can, and we're gonna move forward. We're gonna grind. We're gonna work. I want to be around people that work on that grind. The designers, the makers, all involved with Carnivora put in the work. I'm not gonna be involved with somebody that don't want to work, don't want to grind. Ain't gonna do it. Ain't got time for it. That's a choice. See? Just like I choose to have Carnivora on here. Plus, here's the deal. There might be guys out there that go, man, I can't afford that. Dude, I get it. But I still want to show it to you because I think it's cool. And I think if you're like me and you're a blade lover, and I think that most people that watch this channel are blade lovers, whether it's budget, and don't misunderstand what I'm saying there. Budget has its place and it's awesome. And I've said this a million times, I'll say it a million more. Never, ever, ever, never be ashamed of what you have. Be proud of what you have. Because you've earned it. I am. There ain't no shame. I'll carry that Mohawk Rosecraft till I'm dead. I don't give a damn what anybody thinks of it. Just like I'll carry that Medford, two ends of the spectrum. But the thing is this, guys, if you're a steel lover, and I think that 99.999% of you that watch my channel are steel lovers, I still think you want to see if I can make it work. Y'all know it's going to stab me. Lola. See, Lola's getting fired up now. They bark all day long. This is what they do. Hey! That doesn't stop them. She'll keep barking. But here's the thing. So for those reasons and more, we have Carnivora on. This is the Dragoth. This is one of my favorites. Now, I love them all. I love them all. But remember what I said. The Dragoth. Let me show you real quick and we'll move through them. I'm going to show you all of them. But the Dragoth, the Thor War Cleaver, which is right here. Dogs just went out, so I got a surprise for them. We're going to shut them out there in a minute. The Dragoth, the Thor War Cleaver, and I get all kind of comments on this, right? And here's the deal. Here's the thing. I put out shorts chopping stuff. I did a full hard use video chopping stuff. This is 5160 in my Carta, super comfortable in hand. You know, here's the thing. People hate on it to hate on it. This is a workhorse. It just is. And it's badass. And it's custom made. Here's the deal. Jeremy Boulder Valentine came up with this design. Right? Here's what this is for. The whole thought, remember, making fantasy functional. It's like this. Right? We're going to carry it. There's a lot. Each thing on these things has a reason. This thing is one of the only tools that I've ever used, ever chopped with, ever done anything with that I honestly had to pull off of because I thought I was going to go through a log too fast. Seriously. This thing's wicked. But this, the Dragoth and the Saber Tooth AX, and I'm going to show you that one last, but those three alone have gotten over 5 million views. Right? They're well thought out. They're well built. Now, you've got to bear in mind again, these are tools that we're making fantasy functional. And I'm not trying to talk you into shit. Don't matter to me. Again, and I cover this about every video now, I'm not making a dime off of it. I want to help them build what they have because I can hold on to it. I can see what they have. I see what they have going. They make quality tools. You can't argue that. There's a lot of people that'll watch the shorts. Why don't you chop it? Why don't you watch the damn channel before you do this? You need to do more of this and more than this. So there's that. This one gets a big response. Now I'm talking about the Sabertooth Flats. This is the Aisha. This thing surprised the hell out of me. This is one of the best choppers as far as a knife type blade goes that I've ever had on the channel. You take this right here and you can bam, bam, bam. And it's got a slight tracker style to it. Modified tracker maybe, a trailing point there. This here. But this was a hell of a chopper. White micarta. Very, very feels good in hand. Aisha, I love the name. There's that one. And then another one that I enjoy all of them because again, it's the challenge. This is the kind of stuff that fuels me. This is the kind of stuff that drives me to get better. Right? You don't take this shit and make, I mean, you can make some feather sticks and that's great and it's a necessity, blah, 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 blah. You do this stuff, you have fun with it, and then do the other stuff, right? I'm not here to do all that. I'm not here for a long time, just a good time. Believe that. This is the Kaiju 1.5 dagger. This thing will stab the shit out of you. Both sides are sharp, and it's clean. Again, making fantasy functional. This is a functional piece. We've proved it's a functional piece. Not to mention it's gorgeous. Now, I get people that say, well, Scab, I could buy that. Yeah, you could buy a lot of stuff. Okay, that's not the point. This is going to attract a certain market and a certain clientele. It just is. I know that. I am aware of that. I don't use this channel to try to talk you into shit. I am passionate about blades. I want to bring passion to every video I do. But never mistake that for a sales pitch. Never mistake that for trying to talk you into anything. There's the balance point on that. That's kind of crazy. I just happened to land right on the balance point. But this is what I'm telling you guys. These are guys having fun designing. It's a challenge to design something. Anybody can design fantasy. You can take a napkin. A lot of people write little knives out and send them off all the time. Happens all the time. And then all of a sudden they're not, well, I'm not going. But to make something that's functional, and Shaney has a hand in that too. Don't be mistaken. Shaney is one of the best builders I've come across. Again, that's where some of the price point comes in, guys. You're getting custom, but not only you're getting custom, you're getting quality. It matters. It just matters. Right? So they make beautiful, functional pieces with fantasy in mind. That's it. I've listed the reasons I have them on the channel. I'm appreciative to everybody at Carnivora. Right? Eric Outer is a guy that y'all hear about a lot. I just sent him the glaive a couple days ago. So the glaive went to him. I believe the Mako will go to him next. Right? But these are folks that you hear about. Jeremy Boulder Valentine, WTG. Eric Outer, WTG. Carnivora, they're in that house. There's guys that you know that are designed. Let me show you a couple quick more and we'll close it up. This one is fun. And if you hadn't figured it out by now, guys, I say this a lot. And sometimes, man, I think a lot of times I come off a certain way and I don't, it's not intentional. Because I'm not mad. I'm not upset. That's why I always say, listen, I'm passionate about blades. It's not a sales pitch. That's nothing underhanded at anybody like at one of these knife companies. I don't want anything for this. I get views, I get content. Please understand it. But I'm always very, very careful and very, very upfront that, man, I just love blades. And part of it, y'all want me to be honest, this is the Finnick Talk. Part of it is yes, I'm passionate about blades, but I'm also, when you come out of a decade or more of trying to die, of self-destruction, and you look around and you got a wife that loves you, you got grandkids that love you, your kids love you, your parents love you, and you're still here, you become a lot more passionate about life. I lost a lot of friends along the way. A lot of friends. That's what fuels me. That's what drives me. That's why when you see, maybe you do see a manic side, but I have a desire to build something. I want to build this channel, and I am appreciative to Carnivora and to Shaney over at Shade. I just had a conversation with him. I've got some stuff coming from Shaney. And let me distinguish. There's Shaney at Shade. He's the maker. He's also a designer. There are a lot of collabs with Shaney on design and build. Okay? Then there's Carnivora, the design house. But in that design house, you have designers that make knives. See, that to me, that's important too, because you got guys like Jeremy Boulder Valentine, you got guys like Shaney, you got guys like Tim Ellis, you got guys who actually make knives, make good knives, make quality knives, and you bring all that together under one house, and you put out quality shit. you put out stuff that's fun to use. And I've got hard use reviews on everything except the Nighthawk and the Mako, and they'll be coming. Last one I'm going to show you is the most controversial one we got. And I know it's 20 minutes. It's all right. What more do you got to do? And if you can't tell, Megatron's landed in Detroit. She's there safely with her mama. Baby, I love you. I know you. No way you're made it this far in this video. Merry Christmas to Megatron. I love you. I miss you already. But since I ain't got nothing else to do, y'all gonna see me a lot. Here's the most controversial, I feel like, tool we have. This is the Saber Tooth AX. This is the first tool that was on the channel. I get more comments about this thing than I do anything else. Now there's a Sabertooth 2 on the way. Cannot wait. It's going to be a little bit different design, longer handle. It's going to be badass. Before I take this off, because you're going to immediately know what I'm talking about. Here's the deal. This is one of these. Now, let me say again, I'm not a knife designer. I'm not a blade designer. I do not want to be. I am a blade reviewer. I do have a couple of projects. One with D-Bad. They're on the way from KHHI. They're super dope. I've put pictures of them up. I've got that I am proud to be part of. There's a project there that has my input. You're going to flip out over those. And me and Captain Electro has collabed on one. There's probably going to be several scab collabs where I have some input, but I'm not a knife designer. I don't claim to be, don't want to be. I don't want to sell knives. I don't like trading knives. I don't like any of that shit. I just like demonstrating knives, getting better. This is the Sabertooth AX. They're going to go crazy. But here's the deal. All right. So here's the deal. I'm going to bring this to a head. The Sabertooth AX, the biggest thing that I hear with this is this point coming down, right? I've done a hard use video. And I've done a couple shorts chopping with this thing. I'm still going to get the comments. The thing is this, guys. No matter how much I demonstrate stuff, some of the stuff, there's just going to be questions on. Now, again, I'm not a knife designer. If it was me, I would angle this more down. I think if we angled this more down this way, like if we brought the point this way, I think you'd probably sell triple, because I get a ton of comments on this. Man, I love the style, but that scares me to death, man. And nobody's trying to be argumentative. Nobody's being negative. It has nothing to do with that, right? And until I held it, when I first got it, I thought, ooh, and it took some time to get used to it. Sometimes when we do the stuff and we start these things and it's making fantasy functional, I understand that's going to be a hang-up, I think, right? This by far is the most controversial piece. But I want you to understand, this is one of my favorite pieces. Why? Because I've used it, 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 and I've used it. Never been bit by it. Not one time. Perfectly safe in my opinion. It really is. I'd let my grandson swing it. I just would. But there's always going to be those questions. There's always going to be, you know, I get all the comments, and they don't even bother me. It doesn't bother me because I do totally understand it, right? But there'll be more videos on it. Why? Because I believe in what Carnivora is doing. I believe this is safe. I believe it's badass looking. And if you watch the last short, matter of fact, if I think about it, I'll pin a short in the comments. The last short I did with this thing, I was taking hard bites. And let me just say this, and I'm going to end it with this. There are very few people, and this isn't an arrogant statement. Guys, I'm 5'10", right at 275, 280 pounds. I've trained worked out my whole life, done all that power lifted, all kind of stuff. I've been a pretty strong human being, and I swing harder than I'd say 90%, right? When I swing these things, I swing them as hard as I can in full confidence. And I just simply say that to say, because I've had a guy go, well, like, you know, Scab, I might just swing too. You don't. You know, and I'm not, again, not trying to be arrogant, not trying to be funny, I'm just being honest with you. Again, there's certain things that there's always going to be a question. Why am I bringing it up like this? to drive home the fact, guys, that I'm not trying to talk you into anything. I totally get it. I totally understand. Right? I just do. That being said, I love y'all. God knows I do. God bless y'all. I am blessed to have Carnivora in my life. And this brings us up to, Carnivora is a melting pot of ideas, of religions, of backgrounds, of people. That's the last reason that I'm doing this, because it's people with different spiritual backgrounds, religious backgrounds, emotional backgrounds, economic backgrounds, work backgrounds, coming together to build. And if you don't get anything else out of this video, and what I find is this: most people take something that the most minuscule thing that I meant nothing by, and that's all they'll ever get out of the video. But if you don't get anything else out of this video, I want you to get this. I believe in Carnivora because it's people coming together with one goal in mind. It's something I've always wanted to be a part of. It's something that I am proud to be a part of. It's something that I am proud to put my name on. Having said that, I am Scab. You are not. Man, listen. No matter what you believe, who you believe, how you believe. Happy holidays to you and yours. Merry Christmas. I'm Scab. You're not. I'm gone, son. Get you some of that.